So I think good morning. We shall start the class. Maybe only 88% are there. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Let me share the screen. Stop. Yeah. So I will write one thing, and somebody has switched on the mic. I think. Please put it in mute. Okay. So I have an array like this, and shall I make it like as NP, because NP is more easier for me to type. NP dot array of something like 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. So I want to iterate through everything. I want to print 1, 2, 3, 4 as usual. So maybe I can try out like this. For X in ARR, I can try it because N is a membership function. We can try in, or you can also try the range, and you need to find out the length of that array. Instead of all these things, directly we can put down the elements. So print X. Let me check what will be the answer for this. I will have a new terminal, and so what is the name of this I have given? So Python 3 numpy experiment.py. Okay, yeah, we got it right. And now what I will do is I will give something like this: 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now, what should be the answer that you expect here?
1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay. So they come as a list, because in this particular aspect, the X will be considered as one single element of this particular array. And that element might be the 0th element is 1, 2, 3, 4 list, and the first element will be 6, 7, 8, 9 list. So to do it, what can I do here? Can anybody suggest?
Nested loops.
Yeah, nested loop. I want a nested loop, but how I can write a nested loop so that my 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 will be present. Yes. For maybe you can say this time we can say y, because it's also suggesting, okay, y in array or x. X. The reason is array is consisting 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 lists, right? These are the two things. So for every x, the x might become 1, 2, 3, 4. Next time the loop repeats, it will become 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if I want to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 separately, for every x, the first time the x will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and this should repeat the loop in such a way that the y will become each element of this particular list. So let us see. Here I will write the comment. So here ARR is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 6, 7, 8, 9. This is what happens. Now, what will x become in the first thing? It will become 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here, what will be x? X is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and y is equal to 1 for the first loop. It will print 1. Next, when the loop repeats with the same thing, it will become 2, print 2, next 3, next 4. Finished, right? It will go up, and then x will become 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? X will become 6, 7, 8, 9. When it comes here, the x will be 6, 7, 8, 9. So iterating through 6, 7, 8, 9 will make x print 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, and end the loop. Okay, let me check out. Okay, you got it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I want to iterate not using a for loop. There is one function called ND enumerate, ND enumerate. I told you already what is enumeration. When we talk about the enumeration function, if we give a list, it goes on with enumerating. First, we have given a string called Kranti. When I said enumerate it, it has given me along with indexes also, 0, comma K, next 1, comma R, like this. This is called enumeration. So this enumeration is basically used in Excel sheets also. Once you give 0 and 1 in 2 rows, and if you drag it, it will create the series of numbers. Just you don't need to type every column. If you want a series like your roll numbers, I will keep something like 1200381001. Next, I will use 002. And when I drag by selecting these two things, the next row will come with 3, next row will come with 4. It will automatically add and increment. This is called enumeration. So why we enumerate? The reason is in this array, in this n-dimensional array, I am saying that n-dimensional enumeration. That is why it is called ND enumerate, n-dimensional enumeration. So it will go through all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let us see. So I have reduced a loop, right? I have reduced my nested loop. Instead of going for a nested loop, I have made it only for a single loop. Okay, so I have reduced some instructions lines, right? That will be more advantageous for me. So an efficient code is always using some functions that are previously available to reduce your lines of code. Because you remember one thing, if you are using a function from a package already, so what happens is, I think I have told you in C programming example when we are talking about Python in the first classes, how the interpreter works. Remember, all the libraries, all the packages are already interpreted or they are already compiled. For example, in C, you are using a math.h. It's a library. So when you're considering math.h, there are many functions like sqrt, pow in math.h in C. You should never think that they are in the form of C program or assembly code. Remember that they might be written in assembly code, which is the lowest language, or C program itself. Nowadays, they are writing in C program only because C is much developed. Earlier, they wrote with assembly code. Okay, so you need to imagine that these codes are not coming with your compiler as it is. They are already converted into machine understandable binary codes. So there is no waste of time for you. So for example, you have written hello world, right? The print function is there, right? The print function has large code, maybe 200 lines of code or something, let us imagine. Because the screen should know what I need to do with hello world. So we are telling the print function that please print hello world simply, one line of code for us. And this print actually has many lines of code that will keep the hello world onto the screen. So we are giving instruction to the computer to fill the pixels to show hello world onto the screen. So when this happens, every time if you try to compile print, so that you need to convert into binary code, that means zeros and ones, to make the machine understandable, right? So how much waste of time it will be, right? Converting 200 lines of code for writing your one single hello world line of code. So what they do is, before they give you the compiler for download, they will convert all the packages or the header files or the libraries into machine understandable, whatever machine that is executing. So that the program you have written, like print hello world, is only converted to binary. That's the only one converted to binary. The math.h and other print statement, this is all already converted into binary, and this will be attached to your particular program and sent to the CPU. Now what happens here? Our assumption is even NumPy is already converted into binary code or byte code. Any answer? If C is converted to binary code, I am asking whether NumPy, the whole program, the whole package is converted to binary code or byte code. Any answer from the online also? Remember that binary code is zeros and ones. That is understandable by the CPU. And I told you that C is not portable. It is not platform independent. When you design C program for a particular CPU to be understandable, it only works in that. And that is the reason why in Macs we need a separate software for M1 chips. M1 processor is there, right? Now recently Mac is launching M1 processor on its own. Earlier it used to launch Intel. Now what happened is Microsoft Office, which was written in C programming, they never used any other language. They use only C or C++. Imagine that they have written in C++. They have written the program which can be converted into binary code, and that too only understandable by Intel, right? The same software I cannot run directly on M1 processor in Apple. So I need a separate software which will again reconvert it to M1 understandable. So what Apple has said is, you don't need to worry about buying M1 chip laptops. The reason is we have a software eligible for you until the Microsoft Word is converted for M1 processing. Okay, so they have launched a universal software. So whoever is using M1 thing, you can also install Microsoft Word, but there is a software that runs it. The same thing happens here. Because C is more platform dependent, and it only tries the compiler in which you are installing. For example, the GCC compiler for Linux is different from the GCC compiler for Mac. Because, and that too, it also is different for the Intel chips and AMD chips also. Based on the chip, it might work. So it is entirely dependent. So what Python and Java has done, they have launched their own virtual machines. Virtual machine is like a virtual CPU. This is constructed separately for M1, for Intel, and for those operating systems which can run on those chips, which can interact with that. So for example, some replacement. Recently, I have heard that one of my, a family which we know, that guy has an operation with a replacement of kidney. We cannot replace every kidney, right? We see the operations for replacement of kidneys. Kidney should match with that body. Otherwise, it will be very dangerous. It will be very dangerous if you just keep another kidney, right? So it should match with the blood group or even the body, the entire environment. The same thing happens with C programming. So what they have done is they have simply launched this virtual machine, which actually runs on the home CPU, whatever system you are running in. So it will mask your program. So when you write a program, it is converted into a byte code, actually, not binary code. For example, I have written a C program in GCC compiler. It is converted into binary code. Now, if I give the binary code and ask you to run on your system, it will not run at all, right? The reason is the binary code for this particular environment, Mac, is not usable in your Windows system. It might not run it. Nobody will understand how to run it. But a bytecode that is converted in Mac for Python or Java can even run in your system. The reason is virtual machines. So the virtual machine for your system is different from the virtual machine of my system. But universally, they all understand one language called bytecode, right? But the C compilers doesn't understand. A C compiler in one environment will only understand the binary code for that environment. It doesn't understand the binary code for another environment. Okay, you should always remember that Python is always converted to only bytecode. So let us assume that NumPy is actually a binary, it is converted into bytecode, already converted to bytecode. Now imagine like this. Now I have written this much of program, right? So converting each line into bytecode, how many lines of code I am trying to convert here? Remove these spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code I am converting. Coming back to this, how many lines of code I am converting here? 4. At least I have reduced to 1 line of code, right? At least 1 line of code. And like this, if you have many lines of code removed by using something like nd enumerate, which is already in bytecode, there is no need for you to again and again compile, and it is already compiled and turned into bytecode, which is understandable by the Python virtual machine, and it is directly used there. So that is the reason we say sometimes this is type an idiomatic approach also. You have something like in the portion, right? Idiomatic approach. Until now, there are many things that we have discussed, how we can reduce the code in the start of the classes also. Efficient code is not writing many lines of code. It depends on how much logic you use and what is the time complexity you take. So in this is a program where I am implementing O of n. Why I say n? The reason is the for loop repeats for, let us imagine, n number of times. Right? N number of times. So this might take less time when compared to my code, which is n square. Why I'm saying n square? There are 2 for loops. One for loop repeats n times. The nested for loop repeat n times. So n into n, it will become n square. So it takes more time, right? If, for example, if I say you repeat 2 times, is one thing. If I say you are repeating your loop for 2 square times, how many times you are repeating? 4 times. Which one is less? 2 times is less. So that is the reason you can use this function called nd enumerate. Let us test it, what it will give, right? What you are expecting actually? What should be this idx and what is this x?
Sir, the index and the corresponding value.
Yes, it is correct what Saurit has said. It is the index, the ID of that particular X element. So it will give what is the ID of one, what is the ID in the sense it is not a real ID that we see like ID of that particular one. It is giving at what position it is. Let us test it. Yeah, have you seen? Right? The one is at 0th row and 0th element. 2 is at 0th row and 1 element. So it's a 2D array. That's why it is clearly giving what is the row and what is the column. The first indicates these are the rows. That's why you see it's all indicating this is all 0th row and this is all 1th row, right? The next one indicates the column. In this 0th row, 1 belongs to 0th column, 2 belongs to 1 column, 3 belongs to 2nd column, 4 belongs to 3rd column. And this is why we give this ID X. This ID is different from that ID. You can change this name also. You just change it here. For example, I can say place. Let us run it. Coming, right? The ID function is different. That ID function, why he is giving ID here? To make you understand that I am talking about the situation, the place in which it is situated. But actually we have ID function which is talking about memory, the place in which your actual memory is staying. Okay, this is just a variable. It's not a keyword or a function. Okay, you can change it at any position. You can see how I have changed. So instead of this, I have say place, I can also say position, something, so you can make it understand. See how we have executed. So we have given this one and this. Okay, let us try to remove it. What will happen? Will it give me an error or not? Let us try out. I will remove this one. For X in this, I will write and I'll just run it. Let us see how it will work. Still it is giving. But the reason, what is the difference between the earlier one and this one? We are dividing them into 2 separate things, right? Here it is giving them as tuple. Why it is considered as tuple, not why it is considered not as list? Why it is not giving as list? Can anybody tell me? Yes? Yes. One cannot change its position, right? One is attached to 0, 0. It's the position of one. Two is attached to 0, 1. It's the position of two. Like we are born to two parents. We cannot change our parents, right? We cannot go to somebody and say, you are my parents, they are not my parents. We are born, that's true. And we are tightly coupled with our parents. So whenever there is a tight coupling between two or three elements in a particular row, in a particular fashion, then you can say it is a tuple. You cannot represent it like a list, and that is the reason why they have represented it as a tuple itself. Okay. X in, you can write, that's what we have written, right? The earlier one. X in AR. I'm using a ND enumerate here. ND enumerate itself in string what it has given. I think, have you remembered it? So it has given like this, right? When I give S is equal to Kranti, when I used enumerate, it has given me something like this. Have you understood? Have you remembered this? Comma, and then it has given me or something like this, right? So enumerate always takes the index along with the value. So it's a coupling between them. And that is the reason why I say it's a tuple. 0K, 1R. What is the difference between this and that? No difference, right? This is showing in a 2D array. So it is saying 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. Let us go with only one thing. Let us say I have only one array. Okay, there is only 1D. Let us see what will happen now. How it will give the answer. What did it give? It's only giving one thing, like it belongs to the 0th, next it belongs to the 1, next it belongs to 2 and 3. And every time it is giving comma that particular one. And you really need to do it. Let us say place comma X. Here also you try to divide it, place comma X, and try to run it. So we have ND enumerate function in your NumPy. That is why I am using np dot nd enumerate, because I have imported NumPy as np. So I'm changing the name for my easiness. So I'm saying np dot nd enumerate, and I'm using this one. So now I have divided it actually. From this enumerate, I am taking the position as place and the element itself as X. And I am only directly printing them separately. And that is the reason why it is not showing as tuple. Actually, it comes as a tuple. From the tuple, we are dividing it. The first position is this one, the second position is this one. Okay? Did you understand how it is coming? Right. Let me run something like a small tuple itself. Let us see how it will take. Will it really work like this? Let me try to understand. I'm not using NumPy. I'm directly using a tuple. Okay, I will take some tuple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us see whether it will actually accept or not, and check out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 is coming. Now I want to just go through. I want to tell you how it might be working actually. Okay, a small demo I want to share. So for X in T, I want to print T. Let us see. Let us run this one. Okay. So T, in the sense it is not taking 1, 2, 3, 4 separately. It is it printing 2 times, right? It is printing 2 times. In, if you say T, let me say something like Y comma X. I want to understand whether it is working like this one, the ND enumerate, or separately. That's why I'm doing this experiment.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Sorry.
in the print, I think you need to give X.
Thank you very much for telling. Y comma X. Okay, right. That's why I'm trying to understand why it is giving like this. Now I think we got. Yes. Earlier we need to give print X, but I given print T, and I am imagining why it is like that. Okay, now we got it right. So we got 1, 2, and 3, 4 separately, right? Now if you take only X, let us take only X. So I want to demo that how it actually works in this manner. Now it is giving us a couple 1, 2, and 3, 4. It's a tuple, a coupling between two elements, a tight coupling between two elements. To separate them, what we have done, the first one I have taken as X, the second one is Y, and I am printing both as this. So what happens is when T is 1, 2, a tuple 1, 2, the 1 will be given to X and 2 will be given to Y. And this X and Y are separately printed. But if I only write X without Y, then X will only hold 1, 2 and print that 1, 2 directly. Okay, that is the reason why it actually works like that. And here also you can just understand what happens here. So we got the answer, right? So now coming back to our original position. The programming is all what about experimental things. If you experiment a lot, you will learn a lot. You'll understand a lot what is happening. That's why I ask people to just spend at least half an hour of time a day experimenting it. There are many platforms to learn the code, right? How easy it is the W3 schools to run directly there itself and experiment. Now let us see what will happen. So in this case, can you tell me what it could be giving? ND enumerate what it could be doing at this position. Can anybody imagine what it could be doing? As Paul has asked me, can we write ARR and think about place and X? No, that will not work, right? Just look into the below X comma Y in T. I'm talking about tuple. And based on that, can you tell me what that ND enumerate of array might be doing it? Let us experiment in another way. Maybe I will say T is equal to NP dot ND enumerate of array. Let us take like this. Let us try to print what is T. If it really comes, I don't know. I'm just experimenting it. So what did it give me? The first print is giving it as an object, right? It is an object, right? Now, let us take something like this. Now, let me try to execute this one. So what you are expecting from this now? What is T? T is said as a ND enumerate. It is belong to that particular type object. Let me see what I can get from this. So I'm trying to relate it. So what you are trying to get here? The answer is this one. Then what is T now? Can you tell me? What could be the appearance of T in this case? Earlier, I have written T is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have closed the whole thing here. This is the appearance of T earlier, right? When we said X, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 has been printed. When we said X comma Y, it is separately printing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now, when we removed this, now the T is actually becoming this one. T is an object. Then what could be T? Can anybody tell me? What could be the appearance of T?
Sir, a nested tuple.
Yes, it is a nested tuple like of thing. You carry
Tuple,
on
then
with
one
this.
more tuple.
Yes.
0, 1.
So it will be 0, comma 0,
Tuple close 1.
comma 1.
Yes,
Right.
like this.
Finished. Again, it's another tuple. 0, comma 1, comma 2. And example, I will close it now. And I will close the last one also. Not the last one. Yeah, I think this is fine with this, right? This is actually one tuple. This is one tuple. It is in the whole tuple. Did you understand? Now, if you say x is divided, if the first T will be this one, right? X is divided for this and y is divided for this and so on. So it might be appearing like this, right? Earlier, what we have done with 1, comma 2, 3, comma 4, instead of 1, comma 2, I am giving 0, 0, comma 1, 0, 1, comma 2. Maybe that's how the ND enumerate is making the array. It is reading the entire array. Might be that function has some 20 lines of code, which is iterating through the entire array and making it as a tuple. A combination of its position and the element. I hope you are understanding what it could be, right? Right, coming back. So you understand what is ND enumerate. Now, can you use it? Nobody is saying yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because instead of this, you can also say like this and simply put T here. That's fine. T will be coming like that. You can also experiment this, okay? Later on. Okay, coming back. So this is all about iterating. So we have just learned how to iterate, and this is another case that you can iterate. One is ND enumerate. That's what we have done, right? So what could it be doing? Can you tell me? This is one type of iter. This is another function called ND iter, n-dimensional iter. What is this?
They do the same, but the arguments are different.
Yes, arguments are different, but you know it is giving the slicing mode. What is the first slicing mode? The start and stop. What is the start element?
1, 2, 3, 4, sir.
Yeah, a list called 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the end element? A list called 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, the end is always considered as length. So if I want to just modify it, how can I modify here instead of this one? What should I put in this position? What is the start position index? 0. What is the end position I need to give?
2.
2, because we are telling it up to. So it will be printing 0 and 1, right? And here what it is trying to say? Starting to ending, we need to go for each element starting to ending every 2 jumps. So what could be the answer now? In 0th element, 1, 2, 3, 4, what will be printed? 1, 4 or 3? 1, 3. It is not 1, it is actually 2, right? If you say 3 there instead of 2, then it will be 1, 4. Now it will be 1, 3, the next one, 5 and 7. That's what we got the answer, right? 1, 3, 5, 7. Haven't you understood? You see clearly again. Now let us run it again, whether it will work or not. 0 and 2. Yeah, 1, 3, 5, 7. Even if you remove these two things, default they will consider as the start and up to that length. So it is nothing but 0 is to 2. Okay, so it will print all the elements. So this ND iter will go through each element. So X will become now 1, 2, 3, 4. In 1, 2, 3, 4, what X will be having now?
0.
It will be 1 and 3, and it will print that 1 and 3 in the first loops, right? And the next thing is now X will become 5, 6, 7, 8. And in that, based on this, it will become 5 and 7 and print that 5, 7. I think you understood. So this is about 2D array. If I convert it into 1D array, can anybody tell me what could happen? Shall we give 0 like this? Let us try like this. Because there is only one thing, right? So I'm giving, if it is 0, then it is indicating as 2D array. Because still I am giving something there. Iri Sainath, can you switch off your mic? Waiting room లో దోసేయడం బెటర్ అయితే ఇంక అలౌ చేయకూడదు ఇప్పుడే.
ఓకే సార్ వెయిటింగ్ రూమ్ లో పెట్టాను సార్.
ఓకే ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ. మంచిది. అడు కనీసం ఎన్న కూడా వినట్లా, మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టి మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నాడు. రైట్, లెట్ us experiment with this one. What will happen, right? What has happened? Too many indices for the array. So can I remove this one and try out like this? Try out like this?
Yes, sir.
Let us see what will happen. It's giving, right? What you are trying to write? No, you are saying that you want 2D array, right? Again, for 2D array also you are saying we can write like this. Okay, let us experiment that one. 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is what your intention. Let me see what will happen. And based on that we can discuss. It came 1, 2, 3, 4. Why it came 1, 2, 3, 4 then? What it might be thinking about? What is the meaning of this actually in this particular case? Earlier, colon 2 is different from this colon 2. What this colon 2 indicating?
The list 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again iterate to
Array
plus 2.
consists of ARR consists of two 1D arrays as elements. The 0th element is 1, 2, 3, 4. The next element is 5, 6, 7, 8. Now when you are giving colon 2, it is saying that after 0 you need to go to 2. You should not go to 1. So what happens? Only zeros 1, 2, 3, 4 is printed. Right? Have you understood? Now, for example, if I have given anything like 0 and 1, what will happen now? This also does the same thing, right? So these are nothing but elements here. This position, only the single position is taken as the first position. After comma, for example, I want to give something like this. Colon 2. Now what will be the answer? It will be only 1 and 3. The reason is the before thing we are saying stride 2, right? So we are not going to first and second element. We are only printing first element, concentrating on first element. After that, you need to go to second element. But second element is not there. There is only 0th element and first element. That's all, right? That is the first thing that it is indicating clearly. And what is the second one it is indicating? In that particular element of 1, 2, 3, 4, you only print 1 and 3. Just check out. Yes, got the answer right? Only 1 and 3. Yes. Can you tell me what is that position? What is that position which I underlined now? Just look into that. Okay, let me tell you. What is the 0th element here?
1, 2, 3, 4.
In array, I have given 2 positions. before comma and after comma. What exactly this one indicating? Can you tell me? The first one.
The first list
1D array. What is that 1D array? What is that 0th 1D array? In array, what is the 0th 1D array? Look into this one. What is the 0th element? Again, you are saying 1. In array, let me reiterate this. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this is a type of matrix that you had. It has the row 0 and it has the row 1. And the next thing is 5, 6, 7, 8. And these columns also have this one 0, 1, 2, 3. Now tell me, this is the whole ARR. What is the 0th row that you got? The 0th row is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? What is the first row? The 1th row? 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Now, can you tell me what is the 0th row here now, which I have underlined? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That means this position indicates that the row itself in 2D array, right? In ARR, which is a 2D array, this is one element and this is another element, right? 2 doesn't exist, so it is only considering 1. But if I remove this one also, by default, if I give 1, can you expect what is the answer now? What should be the answer? Based on this example,
1368, 1357.
1357, right? So just look into this. So it is telling start and end. That means it is going through 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, both the elements, both the rows. And in each row, it is going to 2 jumps. Did you understand now? This position is for the row. This position is for all the rows. Okay, that's how it works. I think you understood, right? Now, if you can run it, you will get 1357. Okay, so that's how ND iter works. Stride is the number of jumps. There is no role here for this because it is 1 by default. You will go for each element. If you want to jump the elements, you can give that particular number. Maybe if you have 100 rows here, you want to only go for every 5th row, you can give the stride as 5. So it will print the 0th row, next it will print 4th row, next it will print 9th row, and so on, right? I hope you understand. Okay, right. So instead of this, what I have done earlier, they have given like this, simple, right? If you don't give anything here, it is always equal to default. I think we have reverse engineered it. Whatever they have given the column there, it is nothing but 1 jump for every 1 jump by default, which I have told you that stride is always equal to 1. Right, coming back. Okay, so I hope people have understood what is ND iter and ND enumerate. Okay, right. Right, let us go for join. Huh.
Sir, time
So
up.
now, yeah, tell me. Anybody speaking now?
Sir, time up, sir.
Sir? Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, then we will continue in the afternoon session. Okay.